Good day, everyone. Welcome to our online learning channel. Introducing our lesson on sentence types. Grades 9, Term 2, work on weeks 1 to 2. At the end of our lesson, we must be able to define what a sentence is and identify different types of sentences with examples. That is our objectives for this lesson. We want to first of all interact with the question, what is a sentence? We have written many sentences before, and most probably we have not really asked ourselves what a sentence is. Right? We are going to look at our screen there. It says it is a way of organizing words which express a complete thought, grouping words, and in so doing, those words will express a complete thought. A complete thought simply means something that makes sense, something which can communicate. That is a complete thought. Group of words expressing a complete thought. That is a sentence. Right, let's look at the features of a sentence. How do we know this is a sentence? First of all, a sentence begins with a capital letter. When the sentence begins, there must be a capital letter, and it ends with a full stop, or a question mark, or an exclamation mark. It all depends on what sort of a sentence that is. But there must be a beginning and an end of that sentence. A sentence also has a subject, a finite verb, and a predicate. Right, I'm just going to show you an example of what I mean by that. Looking at our screen there, we have an example of a sentence: the dog barked loudly at night. The dog is our subject. Barked, that is our finite verb. And then the rest of the sentence becomes what we refer to as our predicate. Please note or take care of that. A sentence must have a subject, it must have a finite verb, and it must also have a predicate. That is generally what a sentence comprises of. Then we are going to move to looking closely at different types of sentences. Number one, we have statements. The first type of sentences is statements. These give information. When you just give information, that is considered as a statement. That is considered as a type of a sentence which is just a statement. I have an example there. We are experiencing lockdown these days. That is just a statement, just giving us information to say these days we are on lockdown. That is a type of a sentence known as a statement. Then we come to our second type of a sentence, which is a question. A question will be self-explanatory because it simply asks for information. Looking at the same situation we are in, I have come up with an example. When will this lockdown come to an end? It's just supposed to be this. When will this lockdown come to an end? So we just ask ourselves when the lockdown is coming to an end, and that is a question. Exclamation marks. These, or the exclamations, as a type of a sentence, not as a punctuation, Right, exclamations, these express emotions. For example, stop it. That type of a sentence is an exclamation. Our number 4, the type of sentences on number 4, commands or imperatives. These give instructions. When you give an instruction, that is yet another type of a sentence. For example, don't go out. When you are told not to go out, you are being given an instruction or a command. Those are 4 basically types of sentences. Number 1, statements. Number 2, questions. Number 3, exclamations. Number 4, commands or imperatives. Let's move on and look at sentence classification. Sentences fall under 3 categories. Number 1, we have the simple sentence. Number 2, the compound sentence. And number 3, the complex sentence. We are going to zoom in and look at these in depth and see different examples on these sentences. Our first sentence is the simple sentence. What is a simple sentence? That is our question. It has a subject and 1 finite verb, and it focuses on 1 idea. So in a simple sentence, you will not find 2 finite verbs. You will not find maybe 2 ideas, nor 2 subjects. It's only 1 each. 1 subject, 1 finite verb, 1 idea. That's the simplicity of a simple sentence. Take for an example. They like tea in the morning. We have they as our subject. The pronoun they is our subject. And then our finite verb is like. Like, and the rest of the sentence being our predicate is they like tea in the morning. So not the simplest idea that has been communicated in a simple sentence. 1 subject, 1 verb, and the rest being the predicate. And we can see that only 1 idea that is being communicated, that they like tea in the morning. Right, I want us to look at yet another example on the simple sentence type. Buhle ate her food. I think we can already see our subject, Buhle, then our finite verb, ate, and then the rest being our predicate, she ate her food. Right, 1 simple idea. She ate her food, that's all. Then our next example, the puppy sleeps all day long. Subject, the puppy. Sleeps, our verb, and the rest being our predicate. 1 idea communicated in a simple sentence. So we can just simply sum up this again to say a simple sentence will just have a single idea and 1 subject, 1 finite verb, and remember the focus is on that single idea. Let's go down to our next type, the compound sentence. What is a compound sentence? It has 2 main clauses, which we can think of as being 2 simple sentences joined together by a coordinating conjunction. 2 simple sentences put together by a coordinating conjunction. I have examples of such conjunctions as for, but, and, yet. The list is endless. That is a compound sentence, right? The next feature of a compound sentence is that it has two finite verbs. Unlike the simple sentence, it has now two finite verbs. Right, let's look at examples that we have there on the compound sentence. They watch movies on Saturdays, and on Sundays they go to church. They watch movies on Saturdays, and on Sundays they go to church, right? Look at the subject. They being our subject. And watch our finite verb. And on the other hand, we have also go as another verb. Right, so two finite verbs. Right, when we look at that sentence, we can think of it having two main clauses. The first clause, which is the first part of the sentence, they watch movies on Saturdays. That can be a simple sentence. And then on the other hand, on Sundays, they go to church. That will be another simple sentence. But once these two are put together or they are joined together by the conjunction and, they give us a compound sentence. Take note of that. Two main clauses put together or two simple sentences joined together by a coordinating conjunction will give us a compound sentence. Then our next example. My mother can swim, but my father cannot swim. My mother can swim, but my father cannot swim. Two subjects, two finite verbs. Subject one is my mother. Subject two, my father. Verb one can swim and the other one cannot swim. So we have the two clauses balanced together and they are joined by yet another coordinating conjunction but. Then we look at our third example. John passed the exam because he had prepared well. John passed the exam, one clause. He had prepared well, another clause. And put together or joined together by the coordinating conjunction because, then giving us a compound sentence. Please remember again, a compound sentence will have two main clauses or two main sentences joined together by a coordinating conjunction. A compound sentence will also have two finite verbs, and you will notice that also it will have two subjects. And all in all, those will be combined to make one sentence, which we refer to as a compound sentence. Then we move on to our complex sentence. What is a complex sentence? That is the question. It has one main clause or thought joined by one or more subordinate clauses. I just want to quickly explain a main clause versus a subordinate clause. Right, a main clause is one which can stand on its own and make sense. Maybe think of a simple sentence like we saw in the compound sentence. A simple sentence will be a main clause because it can stand on its own and make sense. And then joined by a subordinate clause, one or more subordinate clauses. A subordinate clause cannot stand on its own and make sense. It is also known as a dependent clause. Dependent in the sense that it depends on the main clause to make sense. And hence also a main clause is also known as an independent clause because on its own it can stand and make sense. Are we clear on that one? Right, we move on to our example. Although the lockdown rules were clear, that is our subordinate clause. Some people still chose to violate them. Subordinate clause comes first there because it cannot stand on its own and make sense. If one says, although the lockdown rules were clear and they stop there, we still remain with questions. And so what? What happened? That means that clause is a subordinate clause. Then some people still chose to violate them. That can stand on its own and make sense, which means that's our main clause. Right, I want you to note also that a complex sentence has what we refer to as a subordinator. A subordinator such as because, since, after, although. In our first sentence, in our first example, we've already seen the use of a subordinator, although. Although, which simply means even if the lockdown rules were clear, but some people still chose to violate them. Right. A complex sentence may also have what are relative pronouns, such as that, who, or which. Those can be part of a complex sentence. Right, let's look at an example. He fainted while he was running the final race. He fainted while he was running the final race. So look at while there, helping us come up with that complex sentence. Another example, Tato went to the tuck shop after he finished the essay. He went to the tuck shop and it was only after he had finished the essay. Look at the subordinator after there, assisting us to come up with that complex sentence. Complex sentences, let's remember, one main clause joined by two or more subordinate clauses. We can still add some more subordinate clauses to qualify or to explain further our main idea. And a complex sentence will also have a subordinator. It might have a subordinator, and we have our examples of subordinators. It may have relative pronouns, and we have our examples of relative pronouns. So take note of the complex sentence. It helps one to explain further an idea or to expand an idea further. Right, let's look at our activity. It's a simple activity to remind us of our types of sentences. Right, section A of our activity says indicate whether the following sentences are statements, questions, exclamations, or commands. You must be able to tell from the sentence what type of a sentence it is. Number one says, there is a new teacher in our school. Number two, go and see. Number 3, have you seen it? Number 4, it will be difficult to cross the road. Number 5, do not go. That is our section A of the activity. Then we go down to our section B of this activity. Construct a simple sentence, a compound sentence, and a complex sentence. Right, as you construct these, take note of the main features of those sentences and you underline them. Take note of those as you do so. You may take just a second, 2 minutes or so to construct those sentences quickly, or you can just, yes, jot them down, or you can think about them quickly. I have my own answers there already. For our number 1, number 1 is a statement, because we are just given that information. It's a statement just giving us information. And then number 2, it's easy to tell it's an exclamation because of the exclamation mark. You can easily tell. One is exclaiming there. Number 3, a question. And I think also that is clear and straightforward because we have a question mark. Then our number 4 is a statement just like number 1, giving us information. Check that sentence again. Just stating the information, it will be difficult to cross the road. And then number 5 is a command. You are being instructed there not to go there. So those are our answers, or that is our solution to our first section of the activity. Then moving down to section B, I have just written my own simple sentences there for us to just, yes, compare, and we can still write more of our own sentences in our practice books. A simple sentence, I am sick. Yes, there is my subject, I am, and my verb, sick. The compound sentence, I am sick and I am weak. Remember, the compound sentence will have 2 simple sentences joined by a coordinating conjunction. I am sick, I am weak, joined by the conjunction and. Then we come to our last sentence, complex sentence. Although you are sick, I think you can see there my subordinate, and that being my subordinate clause, he ran the comrades marathon while wearing a mask. I'm not sure whether that person was suffering from the COVID-19 or they had any other sickness, but not there. Although he was sick, he managed to run through the comrades marathon while wearing a mask. That is clarifying on him running while he's still sick and maybe wearing that mask to assist him there or to help others around him. That is my solution. Those are my answers. You will come up with your own and add on to those simple sentences I've put up. Then we come to our conclusion. Right, I want you to notice that a variety of sentences allow clear expressions in any piece of writing. When you write simple sentences, you pace up your writing, or if there is anything urgent you will want to show by short, quick sentences. And when you want to further explain your ideas, use the compound sentences and your complex sentences together. And what is key for us also as we go further is to be able to identify our different types of sentences from our statements, from our questions, exclamations, and even commands. Then we come to the simplest sentence, the compound sentence, and the complex sentence. That brings us to the end of our lesson today. Good day to all.